you are moving away from making hasty decisions. Hello, hello, welcome back or welcome to Soul Whispers with Michelle. I'm so happy to have you here with me. This is a soul-led message, which means if it doesn't resonate deep within you or if you're fighting with this story in any sort of way, please leave it behind for the souls that it is meant to find. May love hold you, may truth guide you, and may you be released from whatever is not yours. And so it is, my friends. All right, let's dive into this soul whisper. I don't know why, but I really feel the need to have to say that this is all my perception. And that's why it's really important for you to use your own discernment to make sure that the story I'm telling really fits your particular circumstance. All right, so let's see where this soul whisper is leading us. So we had the Knight of Swords in reverse, which the Knight of Swords is one of the hastier archetypes in the deck. They kind of get an idea and want to think air energy. It moves quickly, like the air can shift like this. And so it seems as though you're moving away from making some hasty decisions. All right, let's see what you're moving towards. Wait, did I do that wrong? You know, we're going to keep that, but technically... All right, let's just go with this. Okay, so moving away from those hasty decisions, moving towards, and we have the Prince of Wands. So it's really interesting because we go from the Knight or Prince of Wands, Prince of Swords reverse to the Wands. And it's like you're done making decisions from hasty thinking. And it gives me when I'm tuning into the energy that's surrounding this, it's more of the hasty thinking or the reactive thinking. Because there are sometimes like downloads or like aha moments that all of a sudden when you finally, release the need to find the answer, all of a sudden the answer just kind of shows up. And then you take the action from there. That's the Knight of Swords in the highest vibration. You moving away from it in the lowest vibration is to say you're not doing that anymore. You're waiting for the clarity in order to make the decision. Now, moving into the Prince of Wands. The Prince of Wands is like creativity, passion, ambition, spark. And it's like really doing something for the desire of it all, right? Like it's a heavy desire. So moving away from the reactive thoughts to what actually is like, oh, I can't wait to do this, or like it's super exciting for you. Okay, so then we move into the lesson or the purpose that this particular season of life is meant for you to learn or experience. Okay, I mean, that's interesting. Very interesting that we have 3 of the Knights on the board. With this, the Prince of Jars is really about following your heart, like to a detriment to a certain extent, or I would say that's, I guess, the lower vibration or the part of the duality, right? You have, I'm following my heart no matter what, and at the other end, what would be the other end, or that lower frequency is like, I'm following my heart blindly. Like, I know this is where I want to go, and instead of kind of thinking through strategically what to do, I'm just going to follow my feelings. But apparently that's what you're meant to embody. So, or that's what this season is supposed to teach you, is to follow that heart, to follow that desire. It's almost like the Prince of Wands is working in tandem with that Prince of Jars. Okay, and then we move into the characteristic to embody right now. We have 5 of Swords. Well, that's interesting. Well, I take this in the highest frequency for the embodiment, because you wouldn't embody. Typically, this is my card for self-sabotage, okay? Your own thoughts, your own behaviors are what is sabotaging. And it makes sense that in this case, because we have that Prince of Swords in reverse, that would be connected to this. But in this regard, the embodiment isn't self-sabotage. It's the embodiment of awareness. So it's like, just become aware of when you are self-sabotaging. And readjust is kind of what's coming out with that. This is the first time I'm kind of wanting to get a, I don't know if you call it a clarity card. I don't know what you want to call it. Let's see. We have reassurance. Encouragement is like water to the soul. So yeah, it's the embodiment of, oh, that makes sense too, because it's like your thoughts are immediate. So that's why you're in this season, so to speak, right? Because then, like we already talked about, the Knight of Swords is really impulsive. And so it's being aware of when this impulsivity is taking place. It's not that that's necessarily a bad thing. You can get an impulse to do something or a thought to do something, which is, it's kind of making sure it's actually in alignment with what you want. The fives are about making changes. So it's almost like recognizing a thought or a pattern that when it occurs, you're just aware of it. And that awareness seems to lead you to less reactive actions. Okay, then we have, if you go with this change, you will experience death in reverse. That's interesting. Death in reverse. I need something for that. Well, okay. Death in reverse is obviously not wanting something to end. What is it that won't end if you go with this change? Okay. Feels like maybe that card wanted to come out too. Let's see what we got here. We got finality. Finality. I don't know why that seems difficult to say. And we also have delegation. All right. Let me see. I can't. This is like, I'm finding like a frustration energy. I don't. What is this? Why would I feel a frustration? Why would I feel a frustration to something not wanting to come to an end if I go with these changes? Nope, that question isn't bringing clarity. All right, let me see what else I can find here. All right, so if we go with this, we have Scorpio feeding Cancer, which is kind of like your subconscious feeding or nurturing yourself, like nurturing your nervous system, nurturing your flow. And then we have delegation, Capricorn feeding Aries. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Someone's really throwing me. Okay. All right, I find that the thing that's finally coming through with this is that it's like there, and then I lose the line of energy, basically. I don't know if maybe you've experienced a lot of endings due to your impulsive reactions. So I'm getting the impression that if you go with this, you're going to experience less endings. And it seems like that's going to be very, like, emotionally fulfilling for you. And it seems like it's also going to create help for you in a way. Which would make sense. Like, if you're not cutting people off, then you can delegate work to them, which that's that delegation. So super interesting, and I'm sorry it took so long to get that to come out, but there we go. Okay. If you resist this change, you're going to experience, we have the Two of Pentacles, just kind of a juggling act, basically. Feels like you're gonna constantly be like, what do I have to do here? What do I have to do here? It feels more, I don't know what the word would be, like tightly wound. Like, I'm getting this feeling of I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do this and I have to do that. Or if you flow with this change of that whole, like, being less hasty and really making decisions with your heart and the creative impulse and ambition that you have, and just be aware of the sabotaging behaviors when they come up so that you can change them, and just be aware of the way they're actually affecting you. That's what I have for that position. And then we move into, what do we move into? What to do right now? What would it be helpful to do right now? We have the Sun. Couple things are coming through with that is stepping into the light, really being able to see yourself. The Sun to me is a lot. It really speaks to me about visual, like seeing things clearly. And when the sun's out, there's so much more that you can see, seeing clearly, seeing the truth of the reality, right? Really being able to see from a greater perspective in a way. And I think that's important for you right now, is to just observe. Now, we already talked about this. It's funny because this kind of is running in a diagonal. And it's just like, so we have the Sun, the Prince of Swords in reverse, and the Five of Swords. And it's like, just be aware of when these hasty actions come and lead to the sabotaging behavior. That's what you need. That's what this whisper is telling you to do. Then we go into the mindset that would be helpful for you at this time. Is that the Ten of Swords? The tens for me are liminal spaces. It's where that suit ends. There's a cycle that's come to an end, and the new cycle hasn't necessarily come in yet. So the mindset, this all seems to be, again, wrapped around when these sabotaging behaviors come up, don't go back into them again. When you have the awareness that this is not something that's aligned, when that sabotaging behavior comes up again, it's the awareness that this is not what I want to do. Then you will know you're on the right track when we have Four of Pentacles. That speaks to me of when there's a stability, when you feel stable in life in general. But there's a stability here, which makes sense, right? If you're not making hastier decisions, it allows you to be more stable because you're not moving as much, right? I'm just curious, what energy here is stabilizing with the Four of Pentacles? Intuition. Your flow or your nervous system or your emotions actually feeding your expression. So we have Cancer feeding Gemini. So when your emotions create, I feel like that's where, when emotions come up, you're able to have more of a stable kind of expression, right? With the Gemini is like, no, we're not going to do that. Maybe the old way was this, but the Gemini energy is more of, we're taking those emotions and now we're going to use logic to navigate us in a different way. And then what is this season? What season of life are you in right now? Wow, King of Swords. Lots of sword energy. So you're in the season of life where you are like mastering your expression, okay? You're mastering the sword energy, which is your communication, your personal expression, your thought processes. Like, this is a season for you to really hone in on your mental constructs, okay? That air energy, your thoughts, all of those, the things associated with that air energy. And I just feel like with that sword up too, there's a lot for you to learn in this season as it relates to your mental constructs, your particular expressions. Yeah, that's it. That's what I have. If this whisper supported you by bringing you some sort of clarity, confirmation, or a breakthrough of a sort, or if you just really felt seen in this story, my Venmo and PayPal are located in the description. If you'd like to support this space in a free way, liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel really help these messages get out to the souls that they're meant to find. I appreciate your support.